Today, we're going to be looking at who I think is going to be a WWE champion at the end of 2024. That means we're going to look at every single active championship in the WWE across the main roster and NXT, and I'm going to tell you who I think is going to end the calendar year 2024 holding each particular belt. I'll try to give you as much reasoning and logic for every one of my picks, but the fact of the matter is that many of these are just complete guesses. I'll still try my best, but again, many of these are just shots in the dark. I did get the idea for this video from the Vibe Guys podcast, so if you want to listen to their thoughts on this same topic, go ahead and check out their recent episode of their podcast. I'll leave a link to that episode in the description. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I am confident that you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into it. Let's start off with the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And I'm going to be honest with you, out of every single championship belt on this list, this one is the hardest one to try and give you a logical prediction for, because the women's tag team division itself changes like every 3 months in terms of what teams are actually in it. Think about it. The current champions, the Unholy Union, were nowhere near sniffing tag team gold as little as like 3 months ago, and now they're your current champions. Something that the WWE also likes to do is to change the division almost entirely by making women that are single superstars come together and form a super tag team and have them give a run with the tag team championship belts. They literally just did it with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, and I have a feeling that they're gonna do it again, but this time with some heels in the mix in Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. I had called for these two to be a tag team as early back as right after WrestleMania. I actually thought that they were gonna be vying for tag team gold as early as April, maybe even in Backlash. However, that didn't end up materializing. They weren't even forming any sort of on-screen relationship, but that has finally started. They're starting to become friends. They're starting to have each other's backs. However, I don't think that they're gonna be your next tag team champions, because Nia Jax has a scheduled singles run and a SummerSlam World Championship match against Bayley. So I do see this happening. However, I don't see it happening until the fall. Maybe one of those fall B pay-per-views like those Fastlanes or Paybacks of the world, or I believe Bad Blood is coming up. I could see that being a perfect place for a team like Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton to become World Tag Team Champions. And if they win it in the fall, I think that they just hold towards the end of the year. The Raw Tag Team division is a huge mess right now. Right now, the current champions are Judgment Day, but frankly, I think they're just holding those championships as a prop to help further develop the Liv Morgan storyline side of things. And when I look at the rest of the tag team division on Raw, it is a problem. They're either busy doing something else, they're either recently split up, or they're injured. There really isn't a heck of a whole lot going on in the Raw tag team division. So it's really hard to book in the short term, so I'm going to have to use some long-term booking logic to see if I can come up with some viable tag team champions to come out of the Raw side of things. And when I look at long-term storytelling, the big long-term storyline that's being told is the Bloodline storyline. So I'm going to call my shot here. I'm going to say that the Usos are going to reunite and they're going to become your WWE World Tag Team Champions, representing Roman Reigns' bloodline going into Survivor Series War Games. I know that right now, again, in the short term, there isn't really anything in terms of narrative threads connecting these two together aside from their twins, their brothers. But when Jimmy does inevitably come back from these injury, he's not going to come back to the bloodline that kicked him out. He might be seeking refuge and asylum with his brother. They might reunite and win tag team gold and again go into bloodline Civil War Games as tag team champions. I'm kind of showing my hand here, but I think that if the Usos are going to walk into Bloodline Civil War Games as a set of tag team champions, then I think that Solo Sikoa's bloodline is also going to have their own set of tag champions. So I am going to say that Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa at some point are going to win tag team gold. Right now, they seem to have no interest in tag team gold, let alone the tag team division as a whole. But at some point or another, I do think that they're going to turn their eyes towards that division. Maybe when DIY becomes champion, maybe that can be the heel versus face feud for these championships. And if it does happen, I do think that this bloodline is going to win tag team gold. And just like Roman Reigns' bloodline, again, this is all fantasy booking in my head, I think they're also going to walk into Bloodline Civil War Games as tag team champions so that both sides of the bloodline have gold. The NXT tag team division is probably even more of a mess than Monday Night Raw. This tag team division has been problematic for the past year and a half, where they're really living off of making random ass tag tag teams. They really don't have enough tag teams with a tag team identity to truly make this into a thriving tag team division. Hell, the current champions are guys that were single superstars that came together to become tag team champions. The champions before that, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, same thing. Single superstars that came together to become tag team champions. And I do think that at some point needs to change. I don't think that you can really scale up a tag team division if you're always gonna do that. So I'm gonna say that the champions towards the end of the year are going to be a proper tag team in the team of Malik and Idris. This is a tag team that is a true proper tag team from beginning to end. That is their identity. They get TV time. They look like $1 million. They're involved in current storylines. And I do think that at some point or another, with the proper storytelling and with the right direction, they can be put as the face of the tag team division on NXT, a division that desperately needs a team that represents tag team wrestling on NXT because they don't have that right now. Sticking with NXT, let's look at the NXT North American Women's Championship that was recently minted. Here's the thing, I truly believe that this championship from beginning to end was made for Sol Ruca. At some point or another, Sol Ruca is going to be holding this championship. I don't think that she's the next Women's North American champion. I think that there's going to be maybe one, maybe two or three champions in between, but I think that this is going to be a championship that perhaps plays a bit more of hot potato considering how stacked the women's midcard is on NXT. There is so much talent there. But when I look at the talent that stands out, the one that stands out the most, the shining star of the NXT women's midcard division, it's Sol Ruca. She's going to be holding this at some point soon, and I'm willing to put money that it's going to be towards the end of the year. The men's North American title, on the other hand, might be the easiest one on this entire list. You want to know why it's the easiest one? Because I had to put absolutely zero brain power into this because no one is beating Obafemi. This guy is literally the mountain that nobody in NXT can climb. Frankly, I have a hard time seeing anyone from the main roster being able to climb Mount Obafemi. I just don't see it happening. Obafemi is running through everyone in NXT to the point where, and fingers crossed this doesn't happen, the only way I see him losing is through having to vacate because of some sort of injury, or maybe he vacates a la Asuka. She got called up and had to drop the NXT Women's Championship. Maybe that happens to Obafemi. He has to drop the championship because he gets called up to the main roster or something. But that's talking like past WrestleMania. I'm only talking up until December 2024, and I just don't see anyone taking this championship off of him. The other realistic way to take this championship off of him is in a triple threat or a fatal four-way where he loses without being pinned. However, his last two PLE championship defenses have been in triple threat matches, and he still wins. Yeah, Obafemi is holding this thing right through to the end of the year. The WWE has not been playing hot potato with their mid-card titles at all. I think that whoever is the next one to win the United States Championship is going to be the one that holds the championship right through to the end of the year. I don't think that it's Logan Paul. I don't think that Logan Paul goes a year plus with the United States Championship, considering how little he actually is on the show to defend the championship and be an active working US champion. I think that he loses the championship as soon as SummerSlam to LA Knight, which I don't think is a shocker to anyone here. But I will say that if LA Knight wins at SummerSlam, he's holding right through, likely past Royal Rumble. I would not be surprised. They don't play hot potatoes with these championships like they used to. And if LA Knight does win, he's going to be having a solid 5 to 6 month reign. That's what I'm predicting.
Goodness. Dude, that's, oh my,
jeez. Oh, Jesus. Oh, buckle bomb into the spear. Beautiful. That was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively on Patreon. This week, we'll be looking at Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt in the Ultimate Deletion, the famous TNA cage match between Triple X and America's Most Wanted, a Lucha Classic between Prince Puma and Pentagon Jr. in Lucha Underground, The Shield versus the Usos at Money in the Bank 2013, and the infamous 2020 men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder match where they had to climb climb up the Titan Towers during the pandemic. Again, our watch-alongs are available exclusively on Patreon, as I cannot show them here on YouTube. It's impossible. But over on Patreon, not only do you get the Wrestling is Cool match clubs, which is 5 per week, but you also get the Monday Night Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, and the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everyone else. So come check it out. I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with it, even if you just give it a chance for 1 month. But that's it. Let's get back to the video. Same thing goes for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther really changed the narrative of this championship. This used to be the quintessential hot potato championship. Everyone and anything got a chance to become the Intercontinental Champion, but that's just not the case. However, I do think that they're going to be changing champions soon, just like the United States Championship. I don't think that Sami Zayn holds this past SummerSlam, maybe not even past a couple of weeks, because he's got a scheduled championship match against Braun Breaker. And whether it's at Money in the Bank or maybe they have to do a rematch at SummerSlam, Braun Breaker is ending the summer as the Intercontinental Champion. And if he ends the summer as the Intercontinental Champion, no one is beating this guy. This guy is going to hold this championship for 6+ months. I wouldn't be surprised if he holds it until WrestleMania. And maybe that's where Brock Lesnar comes back to have an Intercontinental Championship match with Braun Breaker, which is what we wanted for Gunther in the first place. But Braun Breaker is Thanos. He is inevitable. He is going to be the megastar of the WWE. He's going to be holding championship gold. He's likely going to be booked in like the top billing guy, probably going to be a future WWE Hall of Famer. And it's going to start with this Intercontinental Championship that he's going to win within the next month or two, that he's going to hold right through to the end of the year. Just for fun, I thought I'd toss in the Money in the Bank briefcase, because in recent memory, the WWE has had both Damian Priest and Austin Theory hold the briefcase for quite a while. So I'll pretend like this is going to be a situation where both the men and the women's winner hold the briefcase for beyond 2024. I'll start off with the women's winner, and I think that's going to be Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green is the perfect weaselly, snively, politicking Money in the Bank winner. I think that she would be so perfect for this thing, and she's also the type to really pick and choose her time. I wouldn't be surprised if she maybe outdoes Carmella in terms of how long she holds this thing. And the other one, which is kind of a crazy choice, but the way that they've been booking him and how much TV time he's been getting, the fact that he's involved in so many key storylines right now, I think Master Gable could be your next Master in the Bank. Money in the Bank would be perfect for Chad Gable. This current iteration of him, this evil piece of shit, just works so well with the briefcase. If anyone cashes in quickly, I think it would be Chad Gable over Chelsea Green. But again, in a world where they're going to hold it for a while, let's pretend here, I think that it's going to be Chad Gable. The NXT Women's Championship has one destination and one destination only. It is Julia. We are waiting for her to come back from her injury. And when she does, they're going to put this championship on her and she's going to hold it for a while. I don't think that she's going to come back for NXT Heatwave, but maybe towards the end of the summer, maybe for No Mercy. I could see a world where she comes back, challenges Roxanne Perez, wins the championship, and holds it till the end of the year. I'm going to keep that one nice and simple. The WWE Women's World Championship is in a bit of a precarious position. Right now, it is being held by Liv Morgan. And frankly, the only person that Liv Morgan should be losing this to, or truly be in danger of losing this to, is Rhea Ripley. That's it. That's all. But it really comes down to, when is Rhea Ripley going to come back? I have her coming back towards SummerSlam, maybe a little bit after, but in the event that she doesn't come back before 2024, I think Liv Morgan just holds right through until Rhea Ripley is able to come back. But I'm going to predict that Rhea Ripley can come back at some point in 2024. She comes back, destroys Liv Morgan, and becomes your champion and holds it through the rest of the year. I think over on SmackDown, the picture is a lot less clear when it comes to the women's main event scene, because you have Bayley, but I don't think that Bayley's going to be holding this thing for very, very much longer. You have two main eventers that could be champions in Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill that are going to be sniffing around this championship for a while. You, of course, have Nia Jax challenging for this thing at SummerSlam, but I think at some point or another, everyone has to bow down to the laws of life and bow down to the queen. All right, Charlotte Flair. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is death, taxes, and Charlotte Flair winning a WWE Women's Championship when she comes back from injury. Those are the guaranteed things in life, and she's coming back from injury, and when she does, she's going to be inserted right into the championship picture, and I think that she's going to be holding this thing probably until the Royal Rumble. The NXT main event men's division is problematic right now, and that's because the WWE main roster completely drafted all of the main eventers from NXT except Trick Williams. So Trick Williams is sort of just treading water, waiting for somebody to really elevate themselves to become a main event player. And we haven't yet seen that. I mean, they're trying with Javon Evans. They had to bring outside people in like Ethan Page, but I think inevitably the cream will rise to the top. And I think the cream will become the king, and there's no better king than Lexis King, baby. Look, I know this one is a stretch right now, but I've seen NXT go through these cycles again and again and again, and they're really just waiting for this next guy to elevate themselves to a main event player. And I see no better player right now to go from the mid card to the main event scene that isn't like an Obafemi more than Lexis King. And I think that Lexis King can be a great Weasley champion, and I think that this is the perfect type of champion to dethrone somebody like Trick Williams, somebody that doesn't fight with honor, somebody that isn't afraid to use the underhanded tactics, and that's Lexis. The World Heavyweight Championship picture to me is pretty simple. I think that, yeah, you just kind of got to look at Gunther and you just kind of have to know that this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to be holding this championship maybe for a year plus, like he did with the Intercontinental Championship, and he's already got a scheduled match for SummerSlam. It's too perfect. If he wins at SummerSlam, he is holding through right through to the end of the year and likely going into WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion. The only scenario where this doesn't happen is if he doesn't win at SummerSlam. Maybe they have other plans for him. Maybe he has different feuds that they want to have him have. But I think that he is the perfect heel champion to carry the World Heavyweight Championship until a worthy babyface can challenge him at something like a WrestleMania. So yeah, I'll keep this simple. I think it's going to be Gunther, wins at SummerSlam, holds right through to the end of the year. And I think I have another simple one. The WWE Undisputed Championship, I don't think is going to be coming off of Cody Rhodes anytime soon. I think that Cody Rhodes is going to be holding for a year plus, even though a lot of people don't want these super long reigns anymore. I think that Cody Rhodes is destined to have one of these super long reigns. The only way that he loses this is if maybe the plan is for him to have another run and regain it and re-win it at WrestleMania. They've done those things with people like John Cena before, where they'll lose the championship shortly before WrestleMania only to win it back at WrestleMania. Maybe that's the plan for Cody Rhodes. But the only people that I could see him losing this thing to is The Rock or Roman Reigns. No one else. Solo Sikoa, no way, no chance. But I do think, although there is a sliver of a possibility that he could lose this before the end of the year, I think if you're a betting guy, and I am, ya boy likes the blackjack, I'm gonna bet that he's gonna hold this past 2024. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this video. That's it. I'm done. Let me know in the comments what you feel I was completely off on, but get out of here.